Hello, I'm Linda Ann Smith, video creator for ColourArt. As a 20-year survivor of breast cancer, I'm dedicating this video to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The materials you will need include a mixed media or watercolor paper, Swirls and Leaves rubber stamp set from designs by Ren.com. Stays on ink because it won't run when it gets wet because it's permanent ink. And a set of Think Pink Twinkling H2Os from ColourArt.com. I went on a trip last month and I had a lot of time to sketch. I sketched this kitty with the breast cancer awareness ribbon for its tail. I'm wearing that ribbon on my fingernails too since I had my own breast cancer story. I'm using the Twinkling H2Os Think Pink set, and the first color that I chose from that set of 6 colors is Love You Pink. I didn't know exactly how I wanted to paint this kitty, so I just began painting this lightest color first, and I painted it in the tail and the feet. Pretty soon I got carried away and painted quite a bit more of it. The next color I'm going to pull from my set is called Dream Blossom, and it's very similar to the first color, but there is a slight difference. So these go together really nicely. Add more dimension and contour, I chose the color Helpful Honeysuckle. As I add more and more colors and let those layers dry in between, and sometimes I dab it off with a paper towel or a little cloth that I had here. I'm dabbing this away while it's still damp because I worked on mixed media paper instead of watercolor paper. But you can do the lifting process by just simply adding water and lifting away after the paint is dry if you use the correct substrate. I'm wanting to work on the other side without getting my hand in the wet paint, so don't be afraid to flip your page upside down, sideways. However it's most comfortable for you to use is the way that you should turn your page. I'm wanting to work in some roundness to this kitty so that he won't look like he's just a flat page. So I'm making it the tail dark on both sides and then just kind of blending that together in the middle with water. At this point I wondered if you were going to be able to tell that I wanted green eyes on my kitty, but I used Good News from the Twinkling H2Os set and they showed up real nicely. I'm using the Stays on ink to print the rubber stamp from Ren's Designs into some of that blank area to give it a little more interest. And then as I worked, I realized that I wanted some of this behind the kitty cat. So I grabbed the sheet of scrap paper to cover up part of the kitty so it wouldn't get on the kitten when I stamped the stamp. But that soon got old. Eventually I had to seek a better solution, so what I'm using here is a sheet of clear plastic like they use for overhead projectors, and I'm placing that right on top of the cat. Then trace all the way around the outside edges and cut this out and use as a mask for when I'm stamping. I'm using my permanent ink pen here to fill in some of the designs and darken some of them that I didn't get stamped just right. I used another stamp that my friend sent me from Louisiana, and coincidentally, she goes by the name Kitty. In the Swirls and Leaves sets, there are 2 other smaller designs that go with the vines here, and that makes it real easy to connect them together and add more in the spaces that are blank. Okay, I'm going to confess why I thought of a kitty cat for this particular project, and that is because when we went to Alabama, my cousin had 4 Manx kittens. I love Manx. I had a Manx for 15 years, and that's the best pet I've ever had. Manxes don't have tails, or they have little tiny tails, those short tails. And so if this one's tail is a little long, it's making up for the 3 kittens that I brought home with me, all the way from Alabama to Oklahoma. Manxes are normally very playful. These babies have been watching me all the time I've been working, and they keep jumping up and trying to pull things off the table, and they usually do. They swat at things on the top of the table when they jump up and knock them off. They think that's just so much fun. Here I'm using Courageous from the Twinkling H2O's collection, the Think Pink collection, and it's a really nice bright purpley, a magenta color. Very pretty. And it will be in contrast to the pink cat that I have on the page. I'm quickly learning that the video creator's nightmare can be the camera battery going dead, and mine went dead, and I was painting with Lucky Apple, and it's a greenish color, but as you can see on the reflections on the page, it turns kind of a yellowish gold color with a green tint to it when you paint with it. To successfully make these little teardrop leaf shapes, you're going to need to turn the canvas where you're pulling the stroke toward you. A lot of people are intimidated by turning the canvas. I don't know why. You can work upside down, that's fine. So turn it in a place where you can put your brush down, push down on the tip of the brush when you first start to make it wide, and then lift as you go. My strokes aren't always perfect. They get outside the lines, but in the overall appearance, everything's going to look great. I've painted in all the leaves now, and I want to go over to the stems, but I want them to be a little different color. I don't want them to be that bright color of the eyes, which is good news, but I think I'm going to take the Lucky Apple that I did the leaves with and mix it with the good news color, which are 2 greenish colors, and then we'll see how those look, filling in the stems and maybe going over just a few of the leaves. Because all the Twinkling H2Os have mica in them, which makes them shimmer, sometimes it's hard to accurately capture on camera the true colors because you don't know if you're seeing the reflection of the shimmer or the way it looks when it's from a different direction of light. But these goldish colors that are on the leaves are actually just a tiny bit more green in real life, and then this is looking really good together. I hope this has been a fun and playful way to remind you of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but I'd like to talk to you a little more seriously because when I had cancer, if it had not been detected very early by a mammogram, and it couldn't have been detected any other way, I probably wouldn't be here today doing this artwork. It was an extremely rare form of cancer that could not be treated through radiation or chemo, and it would grow extremely fast. The only cure for the kind of cancer I had was to remove the cancer and the tissue immediately around it, and if it had grown, that would have been a serious problem. So I want to encourage you to keep your mammograms up to date and not be afraid of them, because they're a detection that may save your life.